Welcome back, Royal Sussex Squad. I hope you're all doing well and feeling strong, because today we need to talk about something important. Something that just happened yesterday that really lays bare what Harry and Meghan have been up against for years. Meghan gave an incredible interview on the Aspire podcast with Emma Grede. And oh, it was powerful. Meghan spoke so openly and honestly about her life as an entrepreneur, about building her business, about navigating this crazy microscope that's been trained on her since forever. It was refreshing, real, and so inspiring to hear her speak her own truth after so long of hearing everyone else put words in her mouth. And there was one moment that really struck me, one moment that showed exactly who Meghan is. Emma asked her, very kindly and cleverly, if you could rewrite your public narrative from scratch, is there anything you would do differently? Meghan paused, and then she gave an answer that was so straightforward and so courageous. She simply said, yes, I would ask people to tell the truth. That's it, that's what she wants. Not revenge, not some clever clapback, just the truth. And oh boy, did that one simple request send the usual suspects into a frenzy. The Daily Mail was on it immediately, twisting her words, making it sound like Meghan was somehow launching an attack on the royal family. But you and I know she didn't do that. She never named them. She never even implied anything personal. She just spoke about a simple human wish that people would tell the truth. And you have to ask yourself, why did they respond so viciously? Why were they so quick to assume she was pointing a finger? Because they know they've been lying, because they know they built up an entire industry around smearing her. It's like they say, hit dogs will holler. Meghan says something as reasonable as, I wish people told the truth. And the British press instantly go into full defence mode. That says everything you need to know. And Meghan even spoke about one specific lie that had been told about her 8 years ago, back when she and Harry were just dating. She didn't spell it all out, she didn't give names, but she acknowledged that it happened. And she also acknowledged that 8 years is a long time for lies to fester, but not forever. Because a lie can't live forever. Her dear friend Serena Williams told her that, and Meghan carries that wisdom with her. Truth will come out eventually, no matter how long they try to hide it. And that's what terrifies the royal Rota and their so-called palace sources. They're scared that as Meghan and Harry continue to live their truth, as they continue to grow, succeed and speak from a place of honesty, all the lies will come tumbling down. The real story is going to come out sooner or later, and deep down they must know that. And let's look at what they do in response. Every time Meghan tries to speak her truth in a measured, respectful way, they drag up the same tired rumours. They trot out these insiders who never put their names to anything, whispering in the shadows about Meghan being difficult, about Meghan making someone cry, about Meghan somehow bullying staff years ago. It's so predictable at this point that it's boring. They talk about their Sussex Survivors Club, these imaginary people who want to set the record straight. But they never do. Why? Because they can't. If there were anything real, anything concrete, we would have heard it by now. Trust me. The British tabloids would have made sure of that, and those famous bullying allegations, Meghan and her lawyers have denied them again and again. Buckingham Palace even conducted some kind of inquiry, but, surprise, they never released the findings. Why? Because there was probably nothing to report, nothing credible, nothing that could justify years of hate. They just left the accusation hanging like a dark cloud and hoped people would believe it without question. That's how this whole smear machine works. Whisper something nasty, never give specifics. Hope the public just accepts it as true. Meanwhile, Meghan has been clear from the start that this is a coordinated campaign against her, one meant to silence and shame her into obedience, but they miscalculated. They thought they could bully her into retreating forever. They thought Harry would come to heel. They thought if they kept pushing these lies, they'd eventually win. But they didn't win. They can't win, because the truth is powerful, and Meghan and Harry have never stopped telling their truth. And let's talk about Harry for a moment too. One of these sources claimed they thought fondly of him, but that they thought his book Spare was revisionism. Really? Spare was Harry laying bare his pain, his trauma, the story of a boy who lost his mother too soon and was left to grow up in a family that preferred silence over compassion. Spare was one of the most honest royal memoirs ever written, and that honesty scared the people who benefit most from myths and cover-ups. Of course, they don't want people to believe Harry's version of events. Of course, they want to muddy the water, that's what they do. And this is why it's so important for all of us to keep sharing the real story. Harry and Meghan don't need us to fight every battle for them, but they do need us to keep telling the truth alongside them, to keep pushing back on these tired smears. Every time Meghan speaks up, they come after her because they know her voice is powerful. Every time Harry reveals some part of his journey, they jump to tear him down because they can't stand that he survived their cruelty and is thriving. And what can we do? Well, we can support them. We can amplify their message. Every time you see some ridiculous tabloid story spinning lies about Meghan making someone cry, remember that those same people have had 8 years to come up with proof and have failed every time. Every time someone tries to diminish Harry's words in Spare, remember that they're not scared of what he wrote. They're scared of you believing him. And most of all, we can keep showing up for Harry and Meghan. That's what this channel is all about. Lifting them up, celebrating their successes and pushing back against this vicious narrative. Because the more light we shine on the truth, the harder it is for lies to hide. So as we wrap up today, I want to thank you all, every one of you, for being here, for listening, for caring. If you appreciate this kind of honest discussion and want to help me keep this channel going strong, please hit that subscribe button so you never miss a new video. And if you'd like to support even more, hit that super thanks. It truly means the world and helps me keep telling the real story. Mail. Many people in the royal world would love to tell the truth about Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex's interview on the Aspire podcast came out yesterday, and the usual suspects have not stopped crying about it since the pod dropped. The interview was so interesting, with Meghan speaking at length about starting and building her business under this crazy microscope. Meghan also spoke in general terms about the hate industry targeting her. At one point, Emma Grede asked her, if you could rewrite your public narrative from scratch, is there anything you would do differently? Meghan replied, yes, I would ask people to tell the truth. Soon afterwards, the Daily Mail called this an attack of the royal family, despite the fact that Meghan did not name them or single them out. Hit dogs are hollering. Well, in case you'd like to hear the Windsors continue to tell on themselves, it looks like the Daily Mail's Becky English got a big palace WhatsApp briefing all about an American woman's podcast interview. There's their truth, and then there's the truth, a royal insider once told me. And I'm not sure it's the kind of truth that Meghan Sussex, as she now prefers to be known, has alluded to in her latest publicity blitz. In an interview with entrepreneur and Dragon's Den judge Emma Grede yesterday, neatly timed to drop just 3 days before her new A's Ever product launch, the Duchess of Sussex once again took a veiled swipe at the royal family. If you could rewrite your public narrative from scratch, is there anything you would do differently? Grede, 42, asks cleverly on her podcast Aspire with Emma Grede. Giving a look that can only be described as pointed, Meghan replies, yes, I would ask people to tell the truth. As if her point hadn't been made firmly enough, Meghan goes on to refer to a mysterious lie told 8 years ago. At the time, 2017, she was dating Prince Harry before the couple announced their engagement in November of that year. Grede, a founding partner of Kim Kardashian's shapewear brand Skims, replies, you're very measured about it. I would just get so angry if I felt like everyone was lying about me all the time. Peaks and valleys, replies Meghan graciously. Of course, I've gone through those chapters and you do a lot of work, you do a lot of self-work, and go, what's the why? It's happening for a reason. She added naturally that her dear friend, tennis champion Serena Williams, told her a lie can't live forever, concluding, 8 years is a long time, but not forever. There was no explanation of what that fib was, or who may have said it, of course. While Buckingham Palace is, for the time being, determined not to be poked into reacting to the Sussexes, those in royal circles have been less coy. Many are loudly wondering why Meghan has raised the issue after all this time and asking pointedly whether she really wants to go down that road again. As one source tells me, there are a lot of people both within the royal households and outside of them who would love to say what really happened. Truth, it seems, Meghan, is not a one-way street. Sensationally, explosive allegations include the claim that Meghan bullied members of staff and drove out 2 female employees when she was a working royal. Meghan, through her lawyers, has strongly and repeatedly denied the claims and suggested they were part of a concerted campaign to smear her. But 4 years after Buckingham Palace carried out an investigation into the claims, the results of the probe have never been made public. The accusations remain a matter of public record. Other former employees, who refer to themselves half-jokingly as the Sussex Survivors Club, have spoken of having PTSD after working for the couple. Others I know say they feel professionally and personally broken. One former insider I spoke to recently always thought fondly of Harry, but even they have noted how, in the late Queen Elizabeth's words, some of his recollections may vary. Speaking of the Duke's vitriolic 2023 memoir, Spare, the source said, "I've always felt a little sympathetic, but that book was a work of complete revisionism. I was constantly thinking, hold on, Harry, it didn't happen like that." While this particular friend of mine didn't have dealings with Meghan, many who did have told me remarkably similar stories. And some have strongly expressed their frustration at not being able to right the many wrongs they believe were committed during the couple's brief time as working royals. The reasons as to why they can't are complex. Of course, there are non-disclosure agreements that legally prevent them from speaking publicly about their experiences working for the royals, for good or bad. These legal agreements are not uncommon in large firms, and there is no suggestion that they are being applied unfairly in the Sussexes' case. But it's important to stress for others there is a strong sense of loyalty to the royal family, and what I can only describe as a feeling of personal dignity and integrity, meaning they subscribe to the late Queen's motto, "Never complain, never explain." I love this selective memory when it comes to the nearly decade-long smear campaign against Meghan. We would tell all about Meghan, but the NDAs, and yes, we're speaking as unnamed sources to the Mail for the millionth time. If there were truly solid, credible, provable accusations against Meghan, they would have come out by now, they would have appeared in a million briefings, they would have been reported on a million times. Instead, all we ever see from royal sources and insiders is the same old cacophony of lies, the same lies which were being referenced by Meghan in the first place. Meghan gave me PTSD. How? Meghan made me cry. How? Meghan is lying about everything. What is she lying about, and be specific? And, of course, drop a comment and let me know your thoughts. What did you take away from Meghan's interview? Do you see what they're doing to twist her words? Let's talk about it together. That's what this Royal Sussex Squad is all about, standing together, telling the truth, and keeping the light on for Harry and Meghan. Until next time, stay strong, stay kind, and as always, let's keep supporting the Sussexes. See you in the next one.